Miss Elizabeth Jordan, we've had a great chance of sitting down to get to know the Commodore of this beautiful Antigua Yacht Club that we've been patronizing all week. It's nice to meet you, and nice to know that we have fans down here in Antigua. Do you, are you a regular reader of Sailing Anarchy?
Oh, I am indeed.
Well, that's good, that's good. And after talking to you a bit, it's pretty obvious that you've got sort of your own anarchistic attitude. You came on the scene in Antigua, what, 10 years ago?
Yes.
And then tell us about your last 4, is it, as Commodore of the Yacht Club?
Yes, obviously I sailed here from England, so when I decided to settle here, I joined the Yacht Club and went through various positions on the committee until I became the Commodore, which was, as I say, I'm in my 4th year. It's an annual election. So
no other competition is coming, taking the coveted...
Not at the moment, no, but I would welcome it.
How much time do you put in every week at the Yacht Club? Working on Yacht Club business?
Job.
It is.
It is, yes. At the moment I also am the acting manager as well as the Commodore. I'm not the... I'm here on a daily basis at the moment. I feel that the club needs that input at the moment, and because we have projects that are going to require funding, serious building projects, then keeping the payroll down is an issue.
Right, always keeping it from creeping, right?
Yes.
So I'll just give a little pan here. The Yacht Club grounds are on a 90-year lease, is that right? Yes. A 90-year lease from the government to promote sailing in Antigua, and they go to this gate, and then this dock is actually a private dock that's associated with a development from BMW Oracle sailor Shannon Falcone's dad, Carlo Falcone, who's been an Antigua resident for 22 years. And then they extend up here, and you can see the stacks of dinghies over here. I think what was most interesting to me when talking to you over a beer was your plans to do something that I think is really important, which is to teach local kids how to sail. Tell me about Antiguans and sailing and swimming, and why don't they do it?
It's a cultural and historical barrier. Antiguans were obviously brought here from Africa originally and were farmers rather than sailors, and tended to move to the interior of the island. They have never traditionally been strong in swimming, and obviously if they can't swim they're not going to sail. The fact is that very few Antiguan children actually receive any swimming instruction whatsoever. The beaches here are
the island's only, what, 20 miles across?
Oh, less, 11 by 8.
You can never be more than a few minutes away from the water anyway.
You can't be more than 6 miles from water at any point in Antigua.
And nobody swims. That's fascinating.
Very few swim. A lot of them go to the beach a lot and splash around, but the beaches here are not the ideal environment for children learning to swim. You have undertow, you have drop-offs, you have waves. Controlled environment like a pool. We have a good 25-metre pool on the other side of the island, but it is the only one on Antigua.
Right.
There isn't a school with a swimming pool, so it's only just this year or last year, 2010, become part of the school curriculum. The government have now been very supportive by adding sailing and swimming to the list of national sports. At the
Antigua Yacht Club's request, yeah?
Yeah, well, but in discussions with, yes.
Right.
I mean, I think the government are becoming much more aware of the yachting industry in Antigua, and hopefully in time will become supportive of it in financial ways, as well as the other support we get from the government, which is that they will give us duty-free concessions. We get school buses to go and pick kids up, a bunch of 15 kids from school, bring them to the yacht club. We teach them at the yacht club. The Academy pays the Yacht Club. The Academy is a charity run by volunteers. We have no payroll, and we receive our income from charitable donations from the yachting community at this time. We hope that will extend as Antiguan citizens become more aware of what we're doing, that we'll get support from Antiguan companies and individuals, but at the moment we have been treated extremely generously by the yachting community, and we have raised enough money by asking for $1 per foot of overall length per year, and that has brought us in enough to go through our teaching program for the initial 18 months at least.
And again, I'll just show you, this is boats like Velsheda, The Maltese Falcon just left a few days ago. The gunboats are out there. You've got Windrose. I mean, these are some of the world's most
Rebecca
amazing.
Lives there, Windrose. We've got
Gaia.
Genuine Risk.
Genuine Risk.
Gaia. We sadly did have Teton until a couple of days
I
ago.
know.
Yes, we. What is that?
Is that the Falcon?
Yes.
It is.
That's
She's
the Falcon
back.
coming back in.
Look at that. Speak of the devil. Tom Perkins' old boat, now owned by Elizabeth. What's her name?
Lena.
Lena.
Greek lady.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, wow, interesting. I love it. So,
now, as I say,
now they've also been buying you dinghies, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Several of the boats, we bought a fleet of 12 new Optimist dinghies, which is the worldwide standard for young children to begin sailing. And now we're after a fleet of Pico dinghies, and we need 12 of those, and we have 8 pledges so far from the last few regattas.
Now we see, you know, during sailing week this week I saw maybe not a lot, but I saw a dozen or you know 15 locals were sailing on the boat, sailing on quite a few of the other boats. Is the government starting to understand that there's actual money in this for Antiguans?
I hope so. A lot of those locals, in fact virtually all of them, will have learnt to sail here at the Antigua Yacht Club.
Really?
The Yacht Club also has a youth sailing programme during the school holidays and at weekends. So the academy runs during the week, and
that can only reach relatively few people.
It can only reach relatively few people because the parent has to bring the child individually, and if you live the other side of the island, that's quite a mission. It also rules out a lot of Antiguan families on economic grounds because the yacht club charges for lessons, where the sailing academy, the lessons are free to the children. So the Sailing Academy aims to overcome the 3 barriers, really. The cultural barrier, because if it's a school sport, it can't be that scary and dangerous.
Right.
Logistically, the parent doesn't have to be involved. The school bus brings a bunch of 15 children, we give them a lesson, the bus takes them back to school. So the parent just has to collect the school from child from school, that's normal. And financially, it's we don't charge to the parents.
And now
there's no barrier.
So you've accomplished those goals, and you've been running for 1 season, correct?
Less, yes. Well, September we've had.
So how many kids do you have that are now learning to sail? How many Antiguans?
I have 150 a week at the moment.
Really?
In this, which is about saturation here at the
Yacht
club.
That's pretty quick.
It was almost instant. The first 10 schools we went to,
they all said yes.
You know,
well, good
start
for them.
next week. We sadly. They are, at the moment, mostly private schools. It is a fact that most of the private school children have been given swimming lessons. The state schools, less so. So we're paying for the swimming lessons now for bunches of children to have swimming lessons so that they can obviously come sailing. I wouldn't last long if I sent them out in deep water.
Not too long,
swim.
no.
But
and so do you have an affiliation with the swimming?
We do. The director of the swim club is on the board of the Sailing Academy.
Got it.
As indeed is the owner of On Deck Ocean Racing, so that when we've got them through dinghies, we can take them onto keel boats. We've just, in fact, on Tuesday, we're having a handover ceremony. Mr. Richard Matthews, previously of Oyster Yachts, is donating his 1720 keelboat to the academy.
Oh, nice.
So we will have a training vessel.
And that's a fun little boat for this water.
And I have a plan to send a youth team aged 10 to 18 to Tortola in July to sail on IC24s, and the Cork 1720 will be the ideal training boat for that. So we're doing that at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. I'm giving him $5 for the boat.
That's great. Are you also accepting donations of other boats from other people? Because there are an awful lot of boats around the world that they could probably just send in a container and drop them off to you. And
we need boats. The government have just given me verbal permission. It has to go through cabinet and red tape, but to open a satellite operation at the fisheries complex in Parham Harbour on the east coast. That means that once we get that running, we will immediately be able to double.
Just a big, windy, flat water, shallow,
behind
protected.
The reef, shallow water.
No traffic, really.
Absolutely. Big natural harbour with a few fishing boats that just operate, go out at dawn and come back at dusk. So, or vice versa, some of them, but certainly a fabulous sailing ground, but without the infrastructure of a yacht club to support it.
Right.
So the plan there is that we will be asking the government to support the payroll for instructors there, and we will be able to double the number of children to 300 a week quite easily.
Wow.
If we can get that
That
running.
could make a really big difference pretty quickly, huh?
We have another potential operation to start up, hopefully by the end of this year on the west coast. There's no reason that within 2 years we shouldn't be teaching 500 children a week, and I think that will certainly grab everybody's attention.
I imagine it would.
And the Antiguans will then really become aware.
Have you modeled this on anything else that you've seen around the world, or have you just been building this from the ground up?
No, ground up really. Yes, I've never been a Commodore or I've never been president of a sailing academy.
You're pretty
before.
ambitious, though. I mean, where does the where does all this motivation come from?
Love of sailing.
Love of sailing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then
That's
I
how
love
got
you,
it.
Elizabeth. Then I love you. I think that's great. You know, I think from a racer standpoint, like my eyes light up when you tell me about these stories, because as far as promoting what you're doing, I can't think of a better way to get 50 or 100 guys bring their dinghies in to do some kind of a world championship or something. And this,
terrific.
I mean, it's. I mean, will you be equipped to do that kind of thing down the road?
I think we will down the road. Yes, why
I mean,
not?
what a place to
Yes.
sail! This
Yes.
is just such an amazing
We have
place to
fabulous
sail.
sailing all the year round.
Yeah. And the
you
wind
know, we have
blows. The
such
wind
an
blows
advantage.
throughout the summer and the winter.
Absolutely, we should be able to train competitive young sailors here way more than we do, because we have the conditions. No, we
Yeah.
don't have to pack up for months in the winter.
And you don't need wetsuits,
Yeah,
and you just have a dinghy and and a life jacket, and you're good to go.
Just magical. And I think the other really plus point we have is that the government do support lots of sports. Volleyball, basketball, netball, cricket, football, but sailing's the only one where we have an industry with
That comes at the
employment
end.
opportunities. We are the only sport on Antigua, and I think when we can get the Antiguans to understand this, we'll get huge support, I'm sure, from them.
And you have an employment center. Well, look, Elizabeth, we're
Thank
running a little bit over here, but thank you. It's been great to talk to you. We have a lot of admiration for what you do, and we
Thank
wish you
you.
the best of luck. Please make sure to keep us posted.
Of course.
And Elizabeth, where can we find out more about the Antigua Yacht Club and the National Sailing Center?
Both have websites. The yacht club is antiguayachtclub.com, and the sailing academy is nationalsailingacademy.org.
.org. All right,
Yes.
easy enough. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.